Hey guys, this is Chodaros and welcome to another great tutorial by MS Loom. This bracelet is a hook-only design incorporating jump rings in the center with two borders around it. This is the back side, which really isn't that bad looking. I think it's pretty cool looking, but you can tell the difference with the front side is all of your bands are nice and neat in between your jump rings. So it doesn't take a lot of time and it doesn't take a lot of material, we'll say. So what you can use is, these are 12mm jump rings. Okay, these are the kind of rings that they make chainmail. You can make chainmail bracelets out of because they have a cut in them. So if you do get these kind, make sure that the hole is closed up properly, or a band, and trust me it will happen, will slide through your hole. Okay, so this one here I used 12 rings and it fits around my wrist perfectly. So you may have to juggle around when you get done with your center part to see if that would be the proper amount. So just 12 of those rings and as many colors as you want. I'm still going to do one color in the middle, a second color for the border, and then my last color will be for the exterior. Okay, so you just need a hook, your C-clip, your bands, and your jump rings. Alright, so first things first, we just start with a jump ring on our hook. And today I'm going to use the medieval red for this part of the bracelet. So you just slide that jump ring onto that band and close it back up. And this entire bracelet is pretty much made up of all slip knots. So if you're familiar with how to do slip knots, you should have no problems. So we go ahead and we create a slip knot onto that ring, keeping that band on our hook. You want to turn your ring and stick your hook back through the ring again and grab another band. Do the exact same thing. So you want to bring this band under the ring, through it, and then you want to close it up. And so you have a back band and then you have this center band. Both of these bands need to go over top of your hook, and this will be the process for the entire bracelet. I'm not good at doing it that way. I like to slide it under. Okay, and that's what you should have. You're going to have a chain starting at the top. So for our first ring, we're going to do this 3 times. So again, take your hook, go down, up through the ring, grab another band, and we want to pull that band through that jump ring and reclaim it. Slide the first one underneath the hook and take the 2 remainder over top of the hook, creating another slip knot. So we have just made 3 slip knots on this ring. Okay, so now we're going to stick our hook back down and inside the ring and grab our second jump ring. So we just place it right on our hook like that and take another band, and this time we need to stick this first jump ring over and the remainder jump ring, leaving this band on the hook. Okay, so the only thing you have on your new band are your jump rings, and then reclaim it. So you want to hold your jump rings together, and we're going to do the same process as the others with the slip knot. The first one goes underneath the hook, and these 2 remainder ones go over the hook, creating a slip knot. So if you let go of this new ring and tug on the band to make sure that slip knot's in place, it will bring this new ring up. Okay? Now, the goal is to make sure that they are side by side. Okay? So once you have them side by side, or the first one is on the bottom and the new one's on the top, you want to stick your hook down and inside that new jump ring. Grab another band, put it on your hook, and slide that jump ring over top and reclaiming. And again, take these two bands here and slide them over the hook like that. Give a little pull to make sure that slip knot is in place. So as you can see right here, that band connected these two rings, and then right here we made our first slip knot on this new ring. From here on out we only make 2 slip knots and then we add a ring. So let's make one more slip knot. Remember, it's only through the ring, and then up the last 2 bands on our hook, come up and over. So we have 2 slip knots right here. Now we need to add a ring. So we take our hook down, stick it up through the ring, and grab a new band through the, oops, I'm sorry. First, add a new ring. Then stick both of your rings on the new band, leaving this band on your hook, and then closing it up. And then again, taking these back 2 bands up and over, creating a slip knot. So that band just made our 3rd ring on our bracelet. So again, we want to take our hook, which is already in the back, stick it through your jump ring, grab another band, pull it through the jump ring, reclaim it, and then bring over these remaining 2 bands. So that's number 1. We want to do one more. So we stick our hook back through the jump ring, the last 2 bands creating a slip knot, and that's 2. So there's our connector. There's 1 slip knot, 2 slip knot. Stick your hook back in. Now it's time to grab a new ring. Grab your band, pull both rings on top of that band and close it up, and then pull the 2 remainder bands over the hook, creating our slip knot. Okay, so that one creates the one that connects it to the previous ring. Stick your hook back through, pull a band through the ring, capture it, bottom 2 bands come over slip knot. So we do one more, through the ring, capture, slip knot. Okay, so that's number 2 on our new ring. So now it's time to add. So we put our hook back through the existing ring, add the new one, put the 2 rings on top of a new band, close it up. Take these 2 remainder bands on our hook and pull them up and over. And then letting this new ring fall into place, creating a straight line. Put your hook through the new one. I'm going to go a tad faster now. So slip knot 1, slip knot 2. So we have 2 slip knots before we add our next band, our ring. So put your hook back through, put your ring on, Take your rings over a new band, close it, pull over the last two, creating a slip knot, and letting this ring fall up into place. Again, back through. This is slip knot number 1. Back through. Slip knot number 2. Put your hook back through your ring and grab another and slide both of the rings on top of the band, close it up, creating a slip knot that holds the new ring to the last. So this is what you should have. We're just stitching on the bottom half of the rings, and each ring should only have 2 slip knots. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our first and our second, and grab our next ring, and that's the one that it joins. So you know you could do this design obviously with cap bands. I believe Claire's Wear does one of her bracelets that it's the cap band in the middle like this. So if you wanted to use, you know, make this bracelet and didn't have any type of jewelry, try it with the cap band. Alright, so I have 3 rings left. And I've tried this with every band that I have as far as type, like opaque, LE, silicone, jelly. The only one that kind of got me was I used the jelly red because I never used jelly bands, and it was very slippy on the ring, so your jump rings didn't come out. Like these are very sticky bands, so they all stay in the exact place they're supposed to. But obviously the LE bands look the neatest because they are made to look neat. Trying to untwist my band. So it's really easy once you get the hang of it, especially if you're used to doing hook-only designs and slip knots and that sort. It's not hard at all. I think that was my last one. So all I have on this new ring here so far is just the connector band. Okay, so but if you look, every ring technically has 4 bands on it, a connector on both sides and then 2 on the lower half. So this time we need to make 3 slip knots. So the first one and second one will take care of what we've been doing, which is adding 2 to the design. And then this third one is going to act as the connector, just to make our bracelet look even. Okay, so now that technically closes the whole bottom part of our bracelet. So any adjusting that you want to do as far as, wow, that's like totally out of focus, huh? What the heck happened there? So any adjusting that you would want to do, there really isn't much, but you know, if you see one of your rings overlapped or something of that nature. So in order to do the other side, we're just going to continue as we've been. Okay, so remember, this one we just did will act as this connector. Okay, so we have to make everything even as we did on this side. So again, we need to add 2 slip knots in the middle. So you just take your hook around this way, add your band, and a slip knot. That's number 1. Add 1 more. And that's 2. So now if you take a look at your ring, okay, you have 2 on the sides, 1 on the sides. Push that over. Okay, so you have 1 on the right, 1 on the left, 2 down here, and 2 up here. Okay, so let's say a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, so new part. So now what we want to do is we want to add another connector to make it nice and strong. So in order to do that, we want to take this, our hook, and we want to go behind this first ring and inside. Then we want to take, in our next ring, we want to fold it up over the hook. Okay, so now you have both rings on your hook. We want to take a band and just slide it through the 2 rings like that. Reclaim it. And then as normal, we want to take the last 2 bands and pull them up and over, creating a slip knot. Now you can unfold that one's loose, and if you turn it the right way, you can see all that did was it put a nice thick layer of bands there in between. Wow, this one's really loose. Okay, so, oh, you know why? Because it came through. Gosh darn, you see that little hole there? I bet you. Okay, so once we have that connector on, again, we're putting 2 more slip knots. That's it, just 2. Just as you normally would. And our last one. Okay, so that made, we have 1 on the side, 1 on the side, 2 down here, and 2 up here. So now it's the part where we do the connecting of the 2 rings. So we take our hook, put it behind and through this ring, and then the ring on the right here, we flip it up and over our hook. Take a band, I'm going to pull it through just your 2 jump rings, like that, and reclaim it. and then take your last 2 bands up and over your hook and pull a little bit. Undo so you can, now you can see you have a nice thick layer right there again. So just repeat. That's 2. Take your hook down in, flap this over, and 1 band to connect the rings, and then Slipknot. And then add our 2 Slipknots to this new ring. Okay, so we got our 2 slip knots on our ring. So then we take our hook down and through, and then the new one flip over and through the 2 rings, close it up, and make your slip knot. Hopefully you guys have a good handle on it by now. If you're a hook only lover, I'm sure this is very easy for you. But if you're new to hook only designs, our goal is to make it non-intimidating, which means teaching it in such a way where you have the confidence that you can do them. Well, at least that's my goal. Okay, time to do the join. One thing that's great about collaborating with designers is when MS Loom and I were discussing this design, she had made a very good point. I thought I used 12mm rings in the first rendition of this bracelet. Well, here I used like 15mm or something. They were huge. And she could tell that there was a lot of space because I was solely going off of her instruction of adding the 2 loops in between on each ring. But she said it correctly, that you should be able to decide. Okay, now we're going with a 12mm jump ring right here. Adding 2 loops on the front, both sides here, and the 2 connectors fills this ring up. If you have a smaller ring, you may only need to put 1 slip knot here and 1 here. So you should be the judge of that. You're not going to mess it up. You're actually going to improve it. as it won't be so gathered and bunched up. And same goes for if you have larger rings. You would just add more, excuse me, add more slip knots. So the whole goal is to make sure that you fill up the ring with slip knots all the way around, but it's also to make sure that both sides have the same amount and are even. Alright, so we have one more after this. So let's join. Now you see this last one here? Everything's all around. We want to take this and push it this way because this is the bottom part. And then we put this on top and then connect through our rings and creating that slip knot, pushing this ring back over, and then we have two more to do, I believe. Let me see. So we have our connector, we have 1, 2, we have that one, yep, we just have one more to do on this one, and then all 12 jump rings will be complete. Ta-da! I think it's because this one must be a 10 millimeter, so I apologize. Okay, this is what you should have. This is the front side. So you can see it has a bit of a raised look to it. These bands that are on the sides, they kind of gather towards the back and kind of make a cup back there. So you know that you did this correctly if all of these nice bands in the middle are nice and even, and there's a lot, they're thick. Okay? Okay, so for this second or the first border we're going to add to this row of rings, we're going to be, you want to have the front side facing you, so it's face up, okay? And then you see all of these little groups of 2. We're going to go in between those groups of 2 and grab the band. Okay, so for instance right here we have a group of 2 here and 2 here. So if you flip it to the back, excuse me, you can see that single chain, and you want to stick your hook just through that chain. Okay, and when you stick your hook through the chain, it is exactly right in the middle of those 2 bands. Okay, take this out real quick. I'm going to slip knot that like that. Excuse me, so it'll have a cleaner appearance. Alright, so right next in line we have 2 and 2. So we want to grab that band right there. So I'm going to slip it this way and grab that chain. The chain's in the back, you know. And then we're going to take our next color. Mine's going to be glitter gold. And we're just going to take that band and slide it under the chain that was on our hook, and then place that band back on top, and then continuing the same stitch as we've been doing is taking the back 2 bands and pulling them up and over our hook like that. Okay, so we just did this group here, so we move to the next group right there. So you turn your hook over, or your bands, and grab those 2. Grab your next band and pull that under that group and reclaim it. and then make your double slip knot. Okay, it's super easy as long as you're doing every other. So every time we come to the end of a ring, we're always going to grab right here in this open part. Okay, and then that's that part we just grabbed, so then we want to go in between these two, grab that chain, stick your band through just that chain and close it up, and then your remainder band slip knot over. Okay, so then we have to go to our next in between, like that. Slip a band through, reclaim it, slip knot. So the next one in line here, grabbing those bands, pulling a band through, and slip knot. So I'll do a couple more with you, but I think you guys will be okay. It's the same exact stitch that we did for the whole first part of our bracelet, minus just remembering to go in between each double band. Oopsie. And you always want to make sure that you're grabbing two. There could be more than two, but you're just grabbing that chain. So technically, excuse me, there's only one group to grab on the ring itself, and then the next one is in between your two rings. Alright, so being left-handed, it has been a challenge for me. I'm not quite sure why. Probably because I'm used to watching the majority of hook-only designs being done by right-handed loomers, that I end up stitching one side of my borders upside down. So if you notice that you may be doing the same thing, I'm going to make mention of it when we get to the end here, to hopefully that won't happen to you again if it does. Because I don't know if it has to do with being left or right-handed, but I would just simply follow the exact same technique that the loomer was showing in a tutorial, and then poof, mine's upside down. Okay, so we're going on to our last ring. Okay, so we are at the end or we completed one side of the border. Okay, so you can tell by the stitch that we put in, see how it has that single chain? Because our outer border, we're going to use that chain. Okay, so that's important that it looks just like this. Also, because we did the slip stitch, this is the front where you can see both of these stitches. And Adele Griffith, as I probably mentioned before, she got me into loosening up the band closest. But that is the front of that stitch, and this is the front of the bracelet. So we turn it over, and the back of the border, you can tell it has a different, completely different look to it, a different pattern. Okay, so make sure that that pattern is on the back, and these two are, this pattern is facing the front. Okay, so when we did this bracelet, we started down here, and I had the front facing me. I can't do that this time. First, I have to actually flip this bracelet over and then stitch. Okay, so I am going to have to create either a slip knot or put a C-clip on. So I'm going to just go in this band here. I'm just going to do that for now. Okay, alright, so what I need to do is I need to make sure that my pattern is facing down, and we're going to begin this side of the stitch. So, excuse me, right next to this one here, okay, you see we have our two areas there, so we're going to go inside of that band and pull a band through and slip knot. Okay, so the next area, it's actually every chain, to be honest, because that's where your chains, whoops, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go to our next area, which is the one in between our rings. Like that. Stick a band through, slip knot. Okay, so then we go into this one here. So like I said, just like the other side, we're going in between each doubled band. So let's see if I can speed this up a little bit. Alrighty, just have a couple more. Okay, so we got this one here, and I think that may be the last. Nope, got this one here. Alright, so right here is where we have the beginning of the first row of that border. So let's just go ahead and take that and put that on our hook. Okay? And then if you want, you can C-clip it. So if you turn your bracelet so the face of it is showing you, or is facing you, both sides of your border should be identical. So you have two bands, okay? And then if you turn it around, then you can see more of that chain and then more of that spider look. So you want to make sure that your borders did come out the same. And we have one more border to do, and I'm actually going to start it in these two bands up here. Okay, so with this one, at least in my case, I need that pattern facing down. I'm to be honest, I should have asked the question. I'm really not sure if the next border has a front and a back. They look very, very, very similar to me. Alright, so for this one, I'm going to use white. Just opaque white. Alright, so for this one, we're going to, we have these two bands on our hook. I don't want to add another band because I'm afraid that it's going to get too high. So let's stick our hook into that first chain there. Okay, now we want to take your band, we want to stick it through that chain, then we want to stick it through the two bands that are on our hook, and we want to reclaim it. Okay, that's just for that first one there. And that's all we're going to do. We're not doing any slip knots on this border. So go into your next chain. Okay, so you have your 2 remaining loops on your hook and you are in the center of that chain. Grab another band, and this band you're going to take everything on your hook on top of it. Everything on your hook, and close it up. Okay, and then we're going to stick our hook into the next chain in line. Grab a band, again stick everything on your hook through that band and close it. That's what we'll be doing the whole entire border. So first, as you stick through the chain, grab a new band, slide everything on your hook, close it up, go through the next chain, everything on your hook goes on top, close it up. Super simple. You're always taking everything on your hook. See, that I'm used to doing it like that, so I'm going to mess it up. We just did how many stitches where we did a slip knot. It's kind of easy to get back into that pattern. It does kind of pull, so we'll adjust when we're finished. Oops, I think I grabbed one too many. So I'm just going to finish this side with you, and then we'll meet back at the end. I don't think you need me to do this whole border with you. Just make sure you don't skip any chains. Okay, just do a couple more, because you're just going to continue all the way around in a circle. So this one here is red. All right. Oops. All right, we're just gonna keep on trucking down all the way to the end. So we didn't have to stop and turn or anything. We can just continue doing the same exact. So you're going through a chain, And then taking a band and placing everything on your hook on top, closing it up, going in the next chain. Hello. It would seriously take me longer to edit if I would have said go ahead and finish and I'll meet you back than it is just for me to finish the bracelet with you. Okay, so we have a couple more left. Okay, so got one more right here. Oopsie. Oopsie. Alright, and last one over here. Boy, that one's really stretched. Yikes. Alright, so you can either slip knot it, excuse me, or put your C-clip. I'm going to put my C-clip. Okay, so just kind of flatten it out a little bit. Wow, I'm pretty impressed on how these colors came out. Came out pretty cool. Look at that. Pretty awesome. I like. So again, this is the front side. So with all of these nice smooth bands on the jump rings, and the back side, which still looks pretty cool. So for the final, this one came up just a teeny tiny bit short. Not too bad, but it looks awesome. What an awesome design with being hook only. I like it. Let's see, where's my other one at? Now this one I used the 12mm heavy gauge, so it stretches. It stretched out a lot as I was making it. But that one fits perfectly as well. So I hope you're happy with your chain circle bracelet. To be sure that you hashtag your renditions on Instagram to both MS Loom and I. We'd love to see what you guys come up with. And remember, you don't need jump rings. You can use alternatives such as a cap band and just replace this jump ring with the cap band and do the same stitch. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned. We've got lots more coming. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.